All right, guys, 2023 Bracketology. Let's kick it off. Let's do it right. Version 1.0. And, you know, I don't know how I'm really going to format this in terms of how many of these I'm going to release per month. Something maybe like one every 2 weeks or 3 weeks until we get into February. But you know, I don't really know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Either way, guys, this is going to be my official 1.0 version, and I'm going to take you through the main 4 sites that I use when I am looking at, you know, different college basketball metrics, when I'm looking at March Madness, stuff like that. The first one normally I would advise you to go to is the Bracket Matrix, which is a combination of all the different bracket forecasters. As you can see, it's kind of you know, useless right now. All of these brackets were preseason brackets. You can see it says the next update is sometime in December. I would assume it's mid-December. And obviously, Gonzaga is going to fall. They're not a 1 seed at this point. Kentucky's not a 1 seed. North Carolina's not a 1 seed. Houston is going to be the #1 overall seed, at least at this point. Baylor and Gonzaga actually play tonight on Peacock. A Friday night game between Baylor and Gonzaga on Peacock. What is happening to college basketball? It's just a weird game. Kansas, UCLA, Duke. So, guys, I'm really not going to look at this because right now it is rendered useless. Again, these are preseason brackets. They're saying the next update is coming in December. And when it comes to this site, it's going to start updating a lot more rapidly as the season goes on. So we kind of just finished all of the tournament action, those mini tournaments where teams playing. So most of those are done. That's why I wanted to get this 1.0 version out of the way. But the site that I'll normally use is T-Rank. Everything on this site is free. To me, it just has the most information, and when it comes to like certain teams, like if you have a certain favorite team, it is the best by far. So you can see they have Houston #1, Tennessee 2, Texas at 3, UCLA, who's 6-2 right now, at #4, Gonzaga. How about Baylor all the way down at #20? Purdue's had a great start to the year. My goodness. UConn at #7. UConn's another team. Purdue and UConn. UConn 9-0. Wow. Indiana, really good start, but they haven't faced anyone. Actually, they did face someone in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, but really they've had a pretty easy schedule. Arizona at #9. They're coming off a very bad loss in the Pac-12 on the road at Utah. That was last night, I believe. Guys, I have a horrible memory. West Virginia at #10. Good start to the year for them. Illinois sitting at #11. They've got themselves a good Friday night road game at a very good Maryland team. Maryland at #18. Duke at 12. They just beat Ohio State at home. Really young, really inexperienced. Guys, I don't know what to make of Duke basketball. Like, they keep doing... they keep doing, them in Kentucky, they do the same thing every year. They're so talented, but none of the kids know how to play, you know? And then they all leave. So it's not even like you get continuity. There's Kentucky at #13. They're 5-2. They almost had a really bad loss a few nights ago. Kansas at #14. That probably surprises people considering that they are 8-1. But the metrics really don't like Kansas right now. Creighton at 15, they're 6-2. Virginia at 16. You can see, I'm surprised Virginia's offense is graded out so well. If you guys see, this is the adjusted offensive efficiency, the adjusted defensive efficiency. So, for example, Houston has the best defense in college basketball. They have the 17th best offense. And Tennessee is #2 on defense, just 56 on offense. So that's another really good metric to look at. Alabama, they're a run-and-gun team. Maryland, St. Mary's. I love teams like St. Mary's. They're 6-2. Baylor, San Diego State. Guys, San Diego State faces a Division II team, a non-division tonight. That's happening tonight. I actually tweeted about it. It's amazing. Arkansas at #22, Memphis at 23, Texas Tech, and then Iowa. And of course, Iowa on brand. They have the 6th best offense, and I'm shocked they have the 83rd best defense. You guys can see Auburn at 16, maybe a little bit overrated by the AP poll. North Carolina's had such a bad start to the year. If I'm a North Carolina fan, I'm still optimistic, but it has not been a good start. Even their wins are bad. Marquette, Xavier, and then Ohio State having to face Duke on the road. That's never fun. But just the other thing that I like looking at, guys, so there's a few different things. So let's say, you're a Houston fan. You like Houston, so you click on them. And the other great thing about this site that you don't have to pay for is it gives you an actual game grader. And you can see this game score. Like they had a 100 game score against Northern Colorado. It was a pure dominant victory. St. Joseph's, they had a 99. Oral Roberts, they had 100. They were leading. This is like how much they led for. So they were leading by an average of 18.2 points. Like when they beat Kent State, they were actually minus 0.9. So they were down most of that game. That's why their overall game score was only 80. And then they come back against Norfolk State. And I'm guessing they're favored in every single game. And they're projected to go 29-2 because there is some games that the computer understands where they're favored. Pretty much every one of these games outside of Memphis and Virginia, they're favored by, it looks like, 9 points. Actually, St. Mary's. That'll be a good neutral site game, it looks like, versus St. Mary's. But St. Mary's has not been that good. So, guys, this site, really, you can see their overall offense, the defense, the green is good, the red is bad. It's just really in-depth, and if you have a favorite team and you're interested, like, my team beat a crap team by 30, do they grade out to 100? Do they grade out to a 90? Something like that. Another good example of this is like looking at North Carolina, who's, started off the season with wins, but like look at the game score, 83, 86, 72. They had a 97, 80, 82, 89, and then they've lost some games. But like the four overtime Alabama loss, you're not going to really get dinged for that. They still had an 89 because Alabama's a quality opponent going to overtime, 4 overtimes. You're not going to get dinged for something like that too much. And then the other thing to look at, just taking a look at like really good offenses combined with really bad defenses. So like hit on the top adjusted offenses to sort it by that, and then try and find like really bad defensive stats. Like, for example, Toledo, 29th best offense, 223rd best defense. So in essence, they're going to be playing a lot of higher scoring games. I just like looking at that. Bryant is another team, the 50th best offense, 255 on defense. Youngstown State, so guys, it's just something fun to look at, in my opinion, on this site. There's a lot. This site has a ton of stuff. It has like player of the year standings, if you want to look at that right now. I'm guessing the Purdue Center. Yeah, the Purdue Center is first right now in terms of player of the year rating in 2023. So that's interesting to look at. And then obviously, I'm sure everyone's aware of the Ken Palm. This is better for the luck metric. Who's the luckiest team? It has that, and then it also has a really good format for the strength of schedule as well. You can see they've got Texas very barely in front of Houston, 0.04 point in front in the adjusted margin. Tennessee at number 3, UConn at 4. They have Kentucky at 5. They're higher on Virginia at number 6. Purdue at number 7. Indiana. So some Big Ten teams, making appearances. Gonzaga, UCLA as well. I'm trying to find North Carolina's at 23. Ohio State at 22. Okay. So looking at like the strength of schedule is something good to look at for this. Oral Roberts, Gonzaga. So Gonzaga is really... They've done a better job at playing tougher schedules in non-conference because they realize how easy their actual conference is. And who is the luckiest team in college basketball? It's UTEP. UTEP is the luckiest team right now. Another fun thing to look at just in terms of like teams that could start off undefeated that are weird. Southern Miss is 8-0. St. John's is 8-0. Missouri is 8-0. Look at the strength of schedule for Missouri, 359. But it is cool to see kind of weird teams that are undefeated in college basketball. New Mexico is 7-0. I know, Utah State is another team. UMass Lowell 7-1. Quinnipiac 7-1. Denver, they're always terrible. 7-1. They have horrible strength of schedule, just horrible. So that is good. And then getting to the actual bracketology, this is something that was just updated a few days ago. This is Joe Lunardi's ESPN. How about TCU has fallen so much, man. They were AP preseason number 14. Now they've fallen all the way down, and they're already on the bubble. Kansas State, Michigan. Penn State's had a decent start to the year. That would be big if they made the tournament for their program. Last four in, Arizona State. They crushed Michigan earlier this year. LSU, Ole Miss. They've had a good start. NC State. And then you're looking at UAB, Oklahoma State. Utah State's had a nice start. Texas A&M's had a rough start. They were ranked a few weeks ago. And then Rutgers, they're really good on defense. Florida, Seton Hall, and Marquette outside looking in. The number one overall seeds, Houston, Texas. I said that, weird. Like, I said it was like a location, like Houston, Texas, but the number one, it's Houston, and then it's also Texas. It's kind of, a little confusing there, but you guys can just, if you want, listen, this stuff is just, if you have a certain favorite team, it's fun to see where your seed line is, but in terms of me analyzing this, there's really no point. I can take a look at the top seeds. Purdue is a 2 seed right now. They're moving up. Baylor is still on the 2 line. Of course, they've got that major game with Gonzaga tonight. Virginia's all the way up to a 1 seed. Wow. Arizona, a 1 seed, although they just lost to Utah. We'll see if they move down. And then the 2 seeds, UConn's been trending way up. And Creighton, I don't know if either of those 2 teams are going to stick as 2 seeds, but right now they have been impressive. So those are the overall standings there. And then how about the Big Ten? All this talk about the Big Ten not having any elite teams, no top 10 teams, in the AP. Or did they have a top 10? I don't know, maybe Indiana. But either way, 10 teams would make the tournament from the Big Ten. The Big 12 is always good. The SEC's definitely been better recently. The ACC has a lot of bad teams this year, guys. A lot of bad teams. The Pac-12 is down again. But that's just kind of interesting to look at all of the conference breakdowns for Bracketology 1.0. And another thing that, you could really do a lot of different things with this, but you can go by conference and kind of just look at how different conferences are. Like, for example, the ACC. Take a look at that. You've got Duke, Virginia. North Carolina's a little bit down. Virginia Tech supposed to be pretty good. There's NC State. And then Miami, Notre Dame. Notre Dame just had a really good win against Michigan State. I thought Michigan State was going to win that game on the road, and they were getting crushed by 25. Wake Forest. Guys, oh, here we go. I'm so glad. Florida State and Louisville. Louisville is 0-7. Let's take a look at Louisville and take a look at their game grade. Look at that, 3. They scored a 3 against Cincinnati. Oh, no, against Texas Tech. My goodness, they scored 38 points on offense. But, yeah, at least they're probably going to beat Florida A&M. They've got a toss-up here, another non-conference game. And, they're probably going to win 5 or 6 games this year. I don't know how Louisville gets this bad. Does anyone know how this happened? Like, even with bad teams, like in Power 5 conferences, you would never start out 0-7, possibly 0-10. So, and then Florida State is like 1-8. It's crazy how bad some of these teams are just in general. And then let's look at I didn't want to do that. Let me just go back to all. And then if we can look at the worst teams just in general, I wonder if it'll update there. They actually do have Florida A&M as the worst team. I'd have to disagree with that. I think IUPUI, they're always horrible. Look at Hartford. You know what? At least they have a good free throw rate. Yeah, they're elite at free throws. That is funny. Mississippi Valley State is always horrible. But a lot of these newer teams like Lindenwood, this is their first year. Stonehill, that's their first year as well. I know that. A lot of those teams are going to be down here. I just want to look at Florida A&M. They actually have a decent offense, or an okay defense compared to how bad some of these other teams are. Yeah, they scored a 1. They beat a non-Division 1 team in overtime. How does that work? Wins against Bubble. Negative 2.1. Oh, my goodness. They actually have to face Purdue, Kentucky. They're 34-point underdogs. But guys, I don't even know why I'm looking at this, honestly. The bottom line when it comes to the Bracketology 1.0, I think the storyline is North Carolina's struggles, and you've got teams trending up right now in the Big Ten, and you have Houston really looking like they could potentially go 30-2 in the regular season. And you've also got a team like Baylor, who's been so good the past few years. We're going to see tonight against Gonzaga. That'll be a huge game for those programs. So there's a lot of big matchups here. Actually, you know what? I think we're kind of coming to a mellow part here of the college basketball season. We had all the tournament games. And guys, another team that I really like, UC Irvine and Drake. Both of those teams are good. I think Drake is undefeated still. UC Irvine, they almost beat San Diego State. They're a good team as well. So there are several teams that are really catching my eye right now, and we will follow them and hopefully get this bracket matrix to update at some point, and then I'll come out with my 2.0 and we will see. But again, Gonzaga will fall down, Kentucky's been struggling, North Carolina's been really struggling, Houston will move up, Baylor, we're going to have to see if they win tonight, Kansas will probably move up, UCLA will probably stay a 2 seed, Duke will probably move to a 3, or maybe stay a 2. Tennessee will move up. Texas will move up. Arkansas will probably stay there. Creighton will stay there. Indiana will either stay a 4 or move up. Arizona will probably move to at least a 3, even after that loss last night. Villanova will probably move out of the tournament without Jay Wright. Villanova, my goodness. TCU is going to be a bubble team. That just goes to show you the kind of start they've gotten off to. Auburn will move up. San Diego State will probably stay there. Virginia will move up to probably a 2 seed in terms of the bracket matrix. Illinois will move up to probably a 3 seed. Bama will probably move up to a 4 seed. Michigan will move down. Dayton will move way down. Dayton will move out. Dayton is 3 and 4 right now. So it is interesting to look at some of this stuff and see how these teams are playing. But either way, guys, that'll do it for my Bracketology 1.0 update. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.